Ladies and gentlemen, after watching that, I think the apt thing to say is that we should unite to power ourselves in order to unlock the opportunities here in Lagos. Welcome to Eyigbeti 2014. Your Excellencies, as you've heard, past summits have come up with different resolutions. These resolutions have led to policy statements and policy adoption, which have also led to execution. But in the course of that documentary you just saw, you actually witnessed citizen testimonials pointing to the fact that the government in Lagos is performing and it is impacting the lives of the average citizen of Lagos. Did you hear what that woman said? There was power as she was going into the theater. When she got into the theater, where they had to make her sleep, but she said, when I woke up, I can't see say power still there. That means that anything could have happened to her in the past, but thankfully, because Lagos is a listening state and has a listening government, power was available in the hospital. She went in, came out, and she's alive to tell the story. But that team in Lagos is led by a man who speaks and stands by his words. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to our governor, the governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He is now going to give us the summit opening address. Your Excellency, sir.
Good morning, please be seated. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me especially welcome our special guests, former President of Georgia, Mr. Michael Saakashvili, for accepting our invitation to participate at this summit and to share his experiences and his thoughts. It has taken quite some effort to get him here, missing, I am told, about 2 different flights, and ultimately getting onto one that brought him here at 4 a.m. But when my team and I were considering who would lead the discussions having regard to the theme that we had chosen for this summit, I said it had to be somebody who had undergone what we are undergoing and who was able to turn it around. And I said to them that, look, I stumbled upon a documentary about Georgia's electricity, and if there was anything that was worse than what we have seen, it was in that country. All sorts of illegal and underhand connections. Everything that we have experienced, they experienced. But he turned it around, and there is reliable power in Georgia today. For us, these are the kind of experiences that we draw inspiration from, because summits like this are important to us. They are more than just avenues to interact and slap backs. They keep us within touching distance of what is possible in other regions, and they inspire us to just run with success stories. So it is within that context that I bid you all a very warm welcome to this year's summit, the Eyigbeti 2014, our 7th summit, and incidentally, this is the last one at which I will address you as Governor of Lagos. But it is one at which I address you with a lot of joy in my heart, with a lot of pride at the progress that we have made. And if you recall, during the first summit that I hosted as governor, Part of what I said to you that day was that as governor and as a team, we have resolved to talk less and to do more. We do this for very many reasons, the most important of which is that we all have agreed on what the problems are. Our resolve is to create opportunities for enterprise and prosperity from these problems. We have seen almost 3 decades of broken promises across the world, and particularly on our continent and in our country. Our people may doubt what we say or plan, but they certainly will not doubt what we do. Those were my words to you in 2008. And from the report of the summits that you have heard today, anybody who doubted us then certainly cannot doubt what we have done. But 2 years ago, we came back here to share with you the messages that we were hearing from our people, that there's a lot of growth on the continent. There's a lot of growth in Nigeria's economy, but that they were not feeling that growth. And we sat down and we said to ourselves, how can we, from Nigeria's economic capital, make that growth trickle down? And it appeared to us, listening and consulting with people, that 4 sectors held the key to accelerating growth and putting people towards prosperity. They were power, agriculture, transportation, and housing. Now, you have heard some of the reports from the chair and co-chair and from Mrs. Ogunbi, but I think what I'd like to share with you are the micro impacts of the building of 2 power plants alone. The power plants in Alausa and the one on the island, which were constructed in the aftermath of the last summit, enabled us to employ 259 people just during the construction alone. You have heard the story of the woman in the hospital. It strengthens our resolve that women will no longer lose their lives while trying to give life to their babies. Island Maternity, where incidentally I was born, is one of those facilities that have benefited from the IPPs, and these are areas where we can make only very restrictive impact, embedded generation, but 14 schools have been connected. Lion Building Police Formation and Zone 2 Police Formation have also been connected. So we have not only impacted hospitals, we have impacted learning, we have impacted security. About 198 generators have been decommissioned, and you have seen that in that sense, it means that in all those areas, we're saving about 4 times what it costs to run facilities to generate power. Social clubs have also benefited that were contiguous and within the embedded area. Island Club, Yoruba Tennis Club, Lagos Lawn Tennis Club, and members of those clubs will also tell you that their management teams are able to report reduced costs in terms of power. Of course, justice delivery has also benefited because the Lagos High Court, the Magistrates Court, in that embedded zone now have reliable and uninterrupted power. But perhaps where the micro impact has been most definitive is on the streets. Because apart from the area that is captured in the IPPs, we have undertaken an aggressive public lighting project, lighting up the streets of Lagos pole by pole. And between the last summit and now, we have lit up 242 streets in Lagos. Now, you can measure that perhaps differently if you understand that that has meant the erection of 10,533 electricity poles. Or perhaps differently, an area covering 316 kilometers of public street lighting. Now, these streets are distributed across Lagos. We haven't covered everywhere, but on the island, we have 58 streets. In Alimosho, 33 streets. In Mushin, 47 streets. In Badagry, 15 streets. In Surulere, 28. In Ijora, 19. In Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and Ajah area, 27. And so on and so forth. But the story I also like to share with you about power, just those public lighting alone, is how it has impacted ordinary people, vendors, merchants, tradesmen, artisans. Because when we talk about the size of the Lagos economy, that size is not really measured by the size of banks. It is measured by the exchange conducted by millions of ordinary people on a daily basis across Lagos. We conducted a study among 22 traders in Iyanokpaja in Alimosho before assessing their situation and assessing their situation after we put on just street lighting. And their average monthly incomes experienced about a 42% growth from 78,000 naira a month to 110,760 naira a month. We sampled 19 people who sell clothing and shoes. They experienced almost a 50% growth in their income from about 286,000 to about 429,000. While those who were trading in electronics that we sampled experienced a 37% growth in their incomes from about 486,000 to about 665,000. What they attributed this to is very simple. The extra 3 to 5 hours beyond dusk when the light comes on and they can still trade. Now, this is not power in their homes. It's just power on the street. Because they feel safer, it's lit up at night, they do more business, they experience more income earnings. These people will tell you that while it may be good to adjust numbers and reliable data and express stories of GDP growth, this alone will not adjust their realities. And that it is only concrete actions based on well-thought-out initiatives like PATH that can really rebase their own realities. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for me, it is clear that our strategy was well conceived, its implementation has been impactful, the power sector is the critical enabler of our national economy, and this explains in part the theme of this year's summit, Powering Lagos, Real Opportunities and Endless Possibilities. But you will permit me to expatiate further. You have heard the story of our power audits, so I will not repeat them. But I will share with you the story of a publisher who, in the course of discussion about publishing a book, said to me he would have to go and print in Dubai. And I said, why Dubai? And he said to me, Governor, well, I employ 600 people in Dubai. He said, the more reason why that business should be in Nigeria. I said, well, at this moment, no. That his power cost in Dubai is only about 4% of his total production cost. But that in Lagos, it will be nothing less than 40%. No. So if we just imagine those 600 jobs coming back home, it will rebase their realities.